Welcome to r/MaliciousCompliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. The lady of the house insists on delivering furniture via a narrow spiral staircase, but the delivery men refuse, leading to a standoff. The second story. Company tries to save money cutting pay. People stop working unpaid overtime and just walk out the door, costing the company millions more. The third story. Annoying girl is rude to me and orders me to watch on them only, while they're tubing. I do, and she gets thrown off the tube into cold water. Today's first story is, the lady of the house insists. About 30 or so years ago, I dropped out of high school. My first job was as a truck jockey for a bloke who owned his removal truck and had a delivery contract with a local chain of furniture stores. The work was hard, and days were usually pretty long. I have an old payslip somewhere for an 84-hour week, but I was young, fit, and healthy, and the work saved me from needing a gym membership. Plus, the cash was really good for a 16-year-old kid. One long, reasonably warm Saturday, we're heading to our last delivery before going home. It was close to 6 p.m. and we'd still have a 45 to 60-minute drive home after, so the boss was in no mood for effing around. The delivery was in Melbourne's, at the time probably still is, wealthiest suburb, Toorak. Lots of big houses and old money. Anyway, we rock up at this place and the boss heaves a sigh of relief. Massive double-entry doors at the front. We were delivering a 3-seater sofa bed. Effing things were heavy, with the metal fold-out bed inside, so anything that made the delivery that little bit easier was seen as a positive. As usual, the boss hops into the back of the truck and starts unwrapping the load to get it onto the tailgate, while I go knock on the door, clipboard in hand. I ring the bell. Old-fashioned turn the brass handle thing. And a butler. Opens the door. I see just over his shoulder a massive entry hall, with big wide staircase leading up to the second story. Awesome. Him. Yes? Me. Good day. We're here to deliver a sofa bed for, checks clipboard, Mrs. Rich B. Name changed to protect the Rich B, and cause I can't remember / don't care. Him gesturing around to the right side of the house. Delivery entrance is around the side. Me. Oh, okay. I trot around to the side door, thinking it would be straight up delivery into a room nearer to that door. I wait and he eventually opens the door. Per our SOP, I ask him to show me where the furniture was going, so I could map the route out for the boss. He gestures to, I'm genuinely not effing kidding, a GD spiral effing staircase. Me. Up those stairs? Him. Yes. Me. But I notice there's a lot more room at the front doors, plus the bigger staircase there. Can we deliver via that route instead? Him. The lady of the house wishes for it to be delivered via the rear staircase. Me. Really? There's no way we're getting that sofa bed up there without hurting ourselves. Or the furniture or house. Why can't we deliver via the front? Him. The lady of the house simply will not permit it. Me. Okay, I'll go let my boss know. By the time I get back to the truck, the boss has the sofa sitting on the tailgate ready for us to carry it in. Boss. Ready? Me. Not quite. You're not gonna believe it, but they want us to deliver via a side entrance and up a spiral staircase. Him. The F they do. Me. Yep, old mate in the suit and tie said so. Him. How many times did you ask him? Me, unsure why. A couple. Wasn't sure I heard him right the first time, but he said the customer won't allow it. Him. Nah, BS, wait here. The boss strides up to the front door and rings the bell, perhaps a little aggressively. Butler opens it. Words are exchanged. The boss gets pretty heated and demands to see the customer. Mrs. Rich B. RB. What's all this nonsense? Boss. Your fella here said we can't deliver through these doors and up that staircase behind you. The other way is too narrow. We'll bust our backs trying to get it up there. RB. That's not my concern. My desire is for the furniture to be delivered via the side entrance. Boss. Nah, we're not doing that. Just let us go this way and we'll be out of your hair in no time. RB. I insist that you deliver the furniture in accordance with the terms of the contract. QMC. The boss straightens up, squares his shoulders. Okay, sure. No worries. We'll get it done, as you said, in accordance with the delivery contract. He walks back towards me, massive effing grin on his face, and tells me to grab the highlighter, fluorescent marker from the cab. I go grab it and hand it to him. He highlights something on the delivery docket on the clipboard, tosses it onto the sofa, and gestures at me to grab my end. I'm wondering what the F is about to go down, but I know my boss well enough to know we aren't about to carry this bloody thing through a side door and up a spiral staircase. As we get near the front doors, the boss tells me we're putting the sofa bed down. He grabs the clipboard and politely asks RB to sign for delivery. RB: I'm not signing anything yet. You haven't delivered it where I want it. Boss: but we have now. Please read the section I've highlighted. RM reading said bit: Oh, well, that changes things. Through the front doors will be fine. Boss: Sorry, please read the second highlighted section. RB reading second said bit: But I've changed my mind. Boss: Sorry, as you can see, it says that deliveries must be made the safest way possible without risking injury to us. And if we still disagree after 3 attempts at making delivery, the customer takes responsibility for completing the delivery from the front of the premises. We asked 4 times, so as you requested, I'm delivering per the terms of the delivery contract you signed. RB going red: But how am I supposed to get this upstairs? Boss: I'm afraid that's no longer my problem, ma'am. Please sign the delivery docket so we can get out of your hair. I took that as my cue to F off, pack up the wraps and straps, and prep the truck for departure. We managed to hold in our laughter until the end of the driveway. Edit: If we'd taken it back, it would have stayed wrapped and strapped in the truck until Monday morning, when we hit the depot again. She'd have been contacted to arrange and pay for another delivery, or have the option of traveling to the other side of town to pick it up herself. The dispatch manager was one of the sons of the family, and a great guy. The boss would have made sure he had all the details, so he could have a robust conversation about the lady's attitude toward facilitating a more expedient delivery the second time. The next story is furlough. Okay, if you want. I worked for a very large Fortune 100 company a few years ago. Our division was in a particular industry that was linked to oil and gas, so when oil prices declined, our revenues declined. There was no demand for our products because there was no investment in the market segment. There was literally nothing we could do. If no one was building oil refineries, no one was buying our tech, no matter how good or bad a job we did. About 7 to 8 years ago, the market was way down. We were very lean, and our industry very profitable, so we still made excellent margins, but sales were down, so our profits were down. I think we had a target of about $925 million in profit for our division, and we were on track to maybe make $850 million. Still wildly profitable. However, the corporate office was peeved about the missing $75 million. Go find a way to bridge the gap. One of the things they did to make up some of the lost profit was to cut everyone's paycheck by 10%, and then tell us to work 10% fewer hours. 36-hour work week instead of 40. This sucked, but they instituted it in late spring, and we did summer hours every summer where you'd work 9-hour days Monday through Thursday, and then half a day on Friday. So what it really meant was you worked 9 hours Monday through Thursday, and took your furlough Friday. So the pay cut stung a little, but you essentially got a 3-day weekend every week, which made it a little better. What they didn't consider, though, was human nature. We were in a highly specialized industry, with a ton of very educated, talented, dedicated scientists and engineers, and I was a dweeb finance person. Most of these people lived in the office. No one worked a 40-hour work week. 50 hours was the norm, and plenty of people worked more. People didn't care because they were devoted to work that was interesting, and we were generally pretty fairly paid. However, cut their paychecks and everyone says, screw you, you only get my 36 hours now. I was in a meeting the first month after the policy took place, and the CEO and CFO were in disbelief that our billable hours had fallen by more than 30%, not 10% as expected. Yes, we got paid by the hour worked because we charged for engineering time, not just for products. So I had the distinct pleasure of explaining to the executives that yes, you only cut people's pay and hours by 10%. But guess what? Everyone quit working unpaid overtime and only worked 36 hours to the minute. And anytime something happened on a Friday, sorry, there's no one here to help. But it gets worse. All summer, most people were pretty content to enjoy the shortened schedule. But come September, summer hours end, and everyone is back in the office 5 days a week and leaving after lunch on Friday. Plus, for the older people, the company had a generous pension plan that paid out something like 80% pay after you hit retirement age. So a lot of these people decided retiring for 80% was better than working for 90% and retired. Tons of others left. The company lost literally centuries of highly specialized knowledge and experience, walking out the door, and because it was specialized, it was very, very hard to replace. Originally, the program was supposed to save the company $17 million. They lost way more than that in lost productivity, lower billings, higher rework, and just lost opportunity. I don't know how it turned out. I left when everyone else did after the summer, but my friends still there tell me the company hasn't recovered. The last story is I got this annoying girl thrown into the cold lake after she orders me to focus only on her. Our cast: me, Sarah, nice friend; Lizzie, annoying girl; my dad. So this happened a long time ago during the summer. I must admit I was a bit of a jerk, and I was unreasonable, but at the time it felt amazing. So Sarah and Lizzie were hanging out on the lake, and I felt a bit left out, as they were becoming really good friends. Now for context, their names IRL are the same, so I asked Sarah if she wanted to come tubing, but I ended up asking both of them on accident. Lizzie was pretty annoying and constantly bragged. It was a pretty cold day for us, and they didn't feel like falling off the tube. We have a small flat tube that gets tons of air, so it's super easy to fly off if you hit a bump outside the wake. For people who haven't tubed, you're laying on your stomach holding onto some handles and trying to stay behind the boat. Going outside the wake is pretty dangerous if you don't want to fall off, because you don't get any protection from the wake. You have to find a constant balance between going too far forward, too far back, or overcrowding the other person. On top of that, most tubers lean, trying to stay in the wake, so you have to go from side to side as well. It's pretty hard if you've never done it before. We have some hand signals for go faster, slower, or stop. We also have some for if you want to go crazy or for people on the boat to say if it's bumpy, which will be important in a second. Now, my dad didn't want to have angry parents after him, so he wanted these two girls to do perfect. It was just me and him in the boat, and the two of them on the tube. He says, OP, do not take your eyes off of them. The lake was pretty crowded, and he didn't want the risk of a boat not seeing them if they fell off. Then Lizzie mocks, yeah, OP, whatever you do, don't take your eyes off of us. Our lives depend on it. I was peeved by that, but I kept my mouth shut as Sarah was really good friends with her. My dad grimaced and just started. I did as they asked, and kept my eyes on them the whole time. My dad asked lightheartedly, how crazy do you want me to? I said keep it calm for now. Just make sure to go over every wake you can find. Grinning, he complied. Lizzie was pretty confident about the whole thing, thinking she could handle everything we could throw at her. Sarah knew she could handle it. She did expect me to warn her when it would be bumpy, as that's what we've done in the past times. But no, I didn't look to the front once to check if it was bumpy. I just kept my eyes glued to them. Cue the malicious compliance. Suddenly there it was, the monster wave. Wake. It was one of those that you're terrified of when you're on the tube and you need warning. I've done flips in the air flying off of these waves. In reality, it's not that big, but it's scary if you don't tube much. Luckily for me, they're already outside the wake. My dad says, big wave coming up. I just reply, oh sorry, I'm watching them, I can't see it. Now Sarah is a good tuber. Her dad's crazy and she's learned to get some big air before and come down well. Lizzie, on the other hand, only has ever been on a couch tube. She's got basically zero experience with getting air, while trying to hold on desperately. She sees the wave seconds before it hits her. Her mouth opens in a scream, her hands grasping the handle as tight as she can, while Sarah only faces it with grim determination. And boom, it hits. She wasn't as prepared as she thought. On the way down, she loses her grip and tumbles forward. She bounces as she hits the edge of the tube, and does a semi-flip before tumbling several feet away from the speeding tube. Sarah, on the other hand, manages to ride it and come down safety. Due to her arms being wonky and her balance not right, she ends up falling soon after. But she manages to do it in a much more graceful and thought-out fashion. Only when I see Sarah fall off do I call, they're off, we need to turn around to get them. By the time we get over there, Lizzie is sputtering in shock and rage. Why didn't you warn us, OP? I couldn't see it until it was too late. Now I'm cold, she shouts. To that I just smile and say, oh I'm sorry, I was focused on keeping my eyes on you two. She just rolls her eyes. We took her back soon after, and enjoyed the rest of our day on the lake peacefully. To her credit, she was trying to do it in a funny/sarcastic way, but she came off as rude and arrogant, which also showed in some comments she said to me. The water wasn't even that cold. The air was just a bit chillier than it had been all day. She got what was coming for her. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.